Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're really peeling back a layer, looking at something quite fundamental. It's this deep and honestly often overlooked link between what goes on inside us, our thoughts, feelings, our inner world, and our actual physical health. Think of it like finding the main control panel for your body, but it's not some gadget, it's right inside you.
That's a great way to put it. And look, we're not going down some rabbit hole of abstract philosophy or getting tangled in complicated medical speak. The aim here is really practical. It's about understanding how your body's actually wired to work. We want to unpack these, well, sometimes surprising ways. Your inner self, your psychological state, is basically the director, the commander, if you will, of your physical being. And importantly, how you can use this understanding to, actively improve your health, live a bit more vibrantly.
Exactly. So, our mission today is pretty clear: distill the key ideas on how your mind leads your body. And also point out a couple of common ways we mess this up, things to sort of sidestep, all without, needing a medical dictionary. We want you leaving this feeling informed, maybe even a bit empowered. Okay, let's start with something basic, an idea most of us kind of get intuitively. We've got our physical body, right? What we see in the mirror, what gets us around. But then there's the worry inside, the part that thinks, feels, worries, hopes, our consciousness. Through history, it's been called the soul, the spirit, the psyche, which is where we get psychology from. For today, maybe let's just call it our conscious mind to keep things clear. Does that work?
Works perfectly. And think about the body then, not just as, bones and muscle, but as this incredibly complex, finely tuned instrument, a biological system. And this amazing instrument is, well, it's given to your conscious mind. Its whole job is to let you experience the world, learn things, gain experience. So in this partnership, your conscious mind is the director, the commander. And the body is like the really responsive soldier, or maybe the orchestra, that carries out the director's intentions.
Okay, hold on. That's quite a statement. So you're really saying our conscious mind is actively directing our health, not just like along for the ride, more than just say what we eat or our genes. There's another layer of control.
Oh, absolutely. Fundamentally, the whole system, all the intricate workings of your body, it's designed to respond to the signals, the directives coming from your conscious mind. Every cell, every process is part of this network, constantly listening and adjusting based on those overall instructions from the director. It's built into the design.
Right. Okay, here's where I think it gets really practical and maybe a bit tricky. Because if the conscious mind is the director, you mentioned there are ways this can go wrong, ways this direction can actually lead to, well, physical problems, like a conductor giving the wrong cues to a perfectly good orchestra.
Exactly that. Perfect analogy. So let's think about the ideal first. A good director, a good commander, sets the big picture goals, right? Your conscious mind might intend, okay, body, I need us to be strong enough to enjoy a walk, or let's heal this cut efficiently. Broad strokes. Then the body, this amazing self-regulating system, it has its own intelligence, its autonomic nervous system. It figures out the incredibly complex details, how to digest food, how to fight off a bug, manage sleep. All that happens automatically without the director micromanaging every single tiny step. The mind provides the what, the body brilliantly handles the how.
Hmm.
Okay, so the first big mistake, too much micromanaging. This is when the conscious mind tries to step in and control all those tiny automatic things. Like imagine trying to consciously tell your stomach exactly how much acid to produce.
Right, or like focusing intently on making your heartbeat slower during a stressful moment.
Precisely. Or telling a specific muscle fiber exactly how much to relax. Or even focusing on internal things like valves or sphincters, trying to mentally force them to operate differently.
Yeah, that sounds exhausting and probably counterproductive. It's like a general obsessing over how every soldier ties their boots instead of focusing on the actual battle plan.
Exactly. You're interfering. This constant fine-tuned meddling from the conscious mind clashes directly with the body's built-in automated wisdom. Your body knows how to handle this stuff. It's evolved over millennia to do it efficiently, unconsciously. When the conscious mind keeps interfering, it creates internal static, confusion, dysregulation. This can absolutely lead to imbalances. The body's systems get stressed, exhausted, maybe even start to break down in small ways. Think chronic stress symptoms, maybe digestive issues, persistent muscle tension. It's often the body reacting to conflicting signals. Okay, then there's a second mistake, the complete opposite, complete neglect or abandonment. This happens when the conscious mind just sort of checks out,
Ah,
becomes indifferent to what the body is experiencing, starts ignoring those little signals, maybe persistent aches or fatigue, dismisses discomfort, just doesn't pay attention even if the body's clearly struggling, kind of falling apart.
Oh, that's a sad image. Like a gardener just walking away from a beautiful garden and letting the weeds take over completely. No tending, no care.
That's a perfect way to think about it. When the conscious mind lets everything just drift, removes itself from that director role, well, the body loses its sense of direction, its coherence.
Yeah.
Without that guiding attention, that intention from the conscious mind, things naturally start to go wrong. Problems develop. And here's the kicker. The conscious mind itself ultimately suffers too. Because how can it experience life fully or achieve its goals if its primary vehicle, its instrument, is neglected and malfunctioning? It's a two-way street. That partnership needs active participation from the mind.
Okay, so putting this together, what we're aiming for is a kind of healthy middle ground, right? Not trying to obsessively control every little bodily function because, well, the body's smart, it knows its job. But also not completely tuning out, ignoring the signals, or abandoning ship. It's about being present, setting the overall intention, but trusting the body's expertise.
Beautifully summarized. That balance is key. And this actually leads us perfectly into something even more, well, profound perhaps,
Yeah.
which is the incredible power our consistent thoughts have in actually shaping our future health. See, the future isn't just one set path waiting for us. It's more like multivariant, lots of potential paths branching out.
Okay, multivariant future. That sounds intriguing. But how do our thoughts, how do they actually influence which of those paths we end up going down? It feels a bit abstract.
It does, but think of it maybe like this, drawing on a principle a bit like energy conservation. The future tends to unfold along the path where the most, let's call it, attentional energy is consistently focused. What we dwell on, what we think about over and over, what we give our mental energy to day after day. That focus amplifies the energy, the sort of likelihood, and even the body's preparation for that specific path. Our thoughts are directing this internal resource. Well, let me try a concrete example. Think about someone who is just consumed by the fear of getting, say, arthritis. Maybe it runs in the family. Maybe they just worry. They're constantly thinking, oh no, what if I get arthritis? Every little ache, every stiffness, they interpret it as a sign. Is this it? Their conscious mind, the director, is effectively sending repeated signals, putting the body on high alert for arthritis.
Hang on, so you're not saying their mind magically creates arthritis out of nothing, but by constantly dwelling on that fear, they're kind of setting the stage for it, creating the internal conditions.
That's a better way to put it, yes. It's about creating the internal environment. Your body, remember, is this responsive instrument. It registers these persistent fear signals. If you're constantly afraid of getting sick, your body might stay in a subtle but prolonged state of stress, fight or flight, even low level. And what does chronic stress do? It can mess with hormones, weaken the immune response over time, increase inflammation. These are all conditions that unfortunately can make the body more vulnerable to various illnesses, potentially including the one being feared. So the conscious mind, by fixating on the negative, inadvertently primes the body, nudges it down that less healthy path. Now flip that. Think about someone with a generally positive outlook, someone who tends to focus on what's good, on feeling well, on resilience. They focus on vitality, on what their body can do. They're consistently directed that attentional energy towards well-being.
Right. So they're sending signals for health, essentially.
Exactly. They're cultivating a different internal environment, one that's more conducive to health, healing, and resilience. They're signaling the body towards a more favorable path.
And the opposite holds true too, then. People stuck in negativity. Everything's awful. Nothing ever works out for me. They're not just feeling bad mentally. They're actually, physiologically, reinforcing a negative program. Like telling their body, yeah, expect things to go badly.
It's a harsh way to put it, but there's truth there. Chronic negativity isn't just an emotional state. It has physiological consequences. It drains energy, yes, but it also sets a pattern. The body, taking its cues, might operate less efficiently. Repair processes might slow down because the overarching signal is one of struggle or failure. So the real takeaway here, the crucial point, is that our conscious mind, our head, needs to be, well, turned on. We need to be aware of where we're directing our focus. By consciously choosing to look towards health, towards positive outcomes, towards what we want, we can actively steer our body's future in a better direction, rather than just letting worries and fears unconsciously create problems for us down the line. It really is about conscious direction.
Wow. Okay. That's a lot to think about, but incredibly powerful. We started by just looking at the mind as the director, the commander of the body. And we've ended up seeing how our everyday thoughts, the things we dwell on, are like the specific commands shaping our physical reality and even our future health.
It really is a potential game changer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially perhaps as we get older and become more aware of our bodies and our health becomes more central. Once you really grasp this dynamic, you gain this amazing sense of personal agency, personal power over your own well-being. It means we can make deliberate choices. How do I want to direct my inner commander today? Am I focusing on strength or on limitation? It shifts things away from just feeling like a victim of fate or genes towards intentional focus, consistently aiming your thoughts at what you want: health, energy, capability, rather than getting stuck on what you fear. That mental shift can have real physical consequences.
It really reframes things. So, bringing it all together from this deep dive, what's the main thing that stands out for you? If there's one thought you'd want someone listening to really hold on to, what would it be?
I think it would be this. Just take a quiet moment sometime today and really consider the kinds of messages you send your body all day long, just through your habitual thoughts. Are you consciously, intentionally giving it commands for health, for vitality, for well-being? Are you picturing yourself strong, capable, enjoying life? Or maybe without realizing it, are you sending messages of fear, worry, limitation, maybe setting it on a path of struggle? Just remember, your body is always listening. It's designed to respond. And the choice of which message to send, that choice ultimately is always yours.